Welcome to the Hotel News Now Podcast Network, part of the CoStar Group. This is the Next Gen and Lodging podcast, which examines trending issues in the hospitality industry, led by three hoteliers who are really shaking things up. In this episode, host Davonne Reaves has a conversation with Wyndham Hotels' CJ Carr and Duke Ventures' Amina Gilyard James on the Millennial Women Making History in Hospitality. Thanks for listening, and visit Hotel News Now for the latest industry news every day.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Davonne Reaves. I am the co-host or 1/3 of Next Gen and Lodging. And this month we are celebrating women for Women History Month. I am joined here today by CJ Carr of Wyndham Hotels. And then I'm also joined by a newly hotelier, Dr. Amina James. And this episode, we are going to talk about millennial women making history during Women's History Month. So Amina, I'm going to start off with you. Can you just let everyone know who you are, let's start right there. Who are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Amina Gilyard James. I am the managing member of Duke Ventures, which is a socially responsible real estate investment firm. We have 3 hotels in our portfolio, 2 of which we are limited partners. And we recently, just at the end of 2022, became general partners in our first deal. So we now own the Quality Inn in Memphis, Tennessee.
I'll get back to your history making moment in a minute. Okay, so now CJ, please let the world know who you are.
Hi everyone, I'm CJ Carr. I am Senior Director of New Construction for the Southeast for Wyndham's development team. I currently handle new construction brands Microtel, American, and all of our economy brands. I've been with Wyndham going on my 6th year now. Had a little bit of experience in converting assets, so we might be able to talk about that, Amina. But yeah, now I'm on the new construction side. It's really interesting learning kind of both sides of the business. So it's been a great year of learning.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. We're going to have a great conversation, right? Super excited. And now just reintroduce myself. Again, my name is Davonne Reaves, 1/3 of Next Gen Lodging. I am also the president and founder of the Davonne Group, which we are a hotel consulting firm, co-owner of 3 hotels across 2 different states. And I recently launched Vestor, which is a crowdfunding platform where you can invest in commercial real estate, including hotels, as well as raising capital. All right, so let's get to the fun part. All right, CJ, we're going to start off with you. How does it feel to be one of the only female developers, not only for Wyndham, but you're one of the only female developers just across the country when it comes to branded hotels? How does that feel? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so when I started, I came into Wyndham, like I said, about 6 years ago. And I think at the time we had possibly 2 Wyndham directors, female directors, one in Canada. And she was super helpful, but obviously not as successful as somebody in the US. So, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't kind of difficult at the beginning, because I felt like I had a major challenge ahead of me that I wasn't like the rest of the room. Mm-hmm. But I think it can be a challenge or it can be a pro, right? So I've kind of really expanded and learned, and I joined Castell Project right off the rip. 6 months in, and that gave me the support I really needed, right? And I think as the company has really grown and changed, diversity and inclusion is our main kind of concept at Wyndham, and how we do it on a corporate level. So to have that as the main kind of thing that drives the ship, it's totally changed. And now we have, I forget the total number, maybe 6 directors, which still is nothing close to the amount of men that we have on the team, but we're growing, and it's not as intimidating for women to come in this role anymore. So I think it's really neat. I came in, it was a little scary, but I've seen it change dramatically. And with people like you and all the initiatives we've got going on, we're not quiet about it anymore, which is really, really exciting.
I love it. And that's how you and I met. We actually met through
Yes, we did.
Isn't it?
Great program. I love Peggy. She's great.
Oh yeah, I'm a super fan of Peggy. I'm a Peggy groupie. So Amina, you actually recently made news and made history. So how does it feel to be one of the only Black hotel owners in Memphis with your new acquisition?
Yeah, so currently we're the only Black hotel owners in Memphis. It was a shock actually. It's not something
Yeah, I
we were
didn't
really
know. Yeah, I didn't know it either.
we didn't even think about it until someone mentioned it, and then we were like, no, we don't believe you. And we called around, we had our consultant call around, we called around, we even called the city, we called the Economic Development Corporation, we called everyone, because we just couldn't believe it.
Right.
But yeah, it's not that. For us, it's more of like an inspiration thing because there obviously have been Black hotel owners in Memphis before, dating back many, 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 many moons ago.
Right.
But it reminds me how difficult it is to stay in the hospitality business as an owner. Access to capital and education on how to operate hotels is really important, because what happens to all the Black hotel owners that used to be in Memphis, So that's just something that we've been interested in. There are a lot of people, Memphians, as they're called, there are a lot of Memphians who are interested in hotel ownership. So we've just been talking a lot to the community and saying, what we can make happen to make sure we're not the only ones for much longer.
So we're gonna stick with you, Amina. So
Okay.
You're a part of, I think I read this with Castell. Actually, I think this came from a Castell report, that 10% of the women hotel owners they're actually, out of all the developers, 10% are women. So now you're a part of that 10%, right? Well, you're not a developer yet, but I'm sure you're going to add development to your portfolio, right? But you're part of the 10% when it comes to women hotel owners. So now along the way with your acquisition, you've created more women investors. You've introduced a lot of people to, particularly women, into investing in hotels, as well as people of color. So how did you bringing in your family and friends? So can you talk a little bit about that process, and how do you feel that you've been able to change people's lives through getting them to invest in hotels?
Well, at first it was a daunting task because even though we had invested in hotel properties as limited partners, obviously we never had the responsibility of raising all the capital,
Yes.
And getting the debt for the purchase. So it definitely was a task, but we were really excited from the beginning. It took a while, to get everyone on board, but that's also because we ended up with 31 investors, or investment entities, I should say. And really it's almost double that because we have a lot of married couples who invested with us because we're a married couple. So they saw themselves.
And I knew that was gonna happen too. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah. It's very interesting, also finding what your target audience is for investors, because it's just like anything else, right? You got to know who you're most likely to be successful with. So along the way, we did create a lot of investors of color and women, and it's been really exciting. We brought our family into it. So my dad, who's 70 years old, it was his first time investing in a commercial property. So he's just super excited. He'll be in Memphis for our investor summit. And also Norland, my husband, his parents, they're in their mid 70s, and two of his uncles, one who's in his 80s, invested as well. And they were just really excited. We were surprised that we had an easier time getting the older generation rather than the newer generation in our families to invest. But that just goes to show you can't count anyone out.
You can't. Now I'm going back to UCJ. So Wyndham launched their Women on the Room program, I believe it's in 2021, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So how does it feel to be a part of history by creating more women hotel owners and developers, with this initiative?
Man, it feels awesome because I feel like it has absolutely blown up overnight. And it's really neat because when I first started, we had a program called the Minority Incentive Program.
Okay.
Right. And it kind of was all encompassing. It was all encompassing. And kind of didn't really have a direction for it, right? It was just all encompassing, which is great that we offered it. But then we started to really dial down. So you mentioned she's part of the 10%. Well, 70% of the workforce in hotels is made up by women. 10% of that 70 is in development, right? That's ridiculous. And a lot of these hotels are thriving around the country because of women in leadership roles inside the hotel doing the operations, right? So to know that those people, you know, and no, obviously I'm a woman, right? To know that a woman is putting in that type of work and that amount of work and not being recognized for it and not even having the opportunity to be able to stand up and say, hey, you know what, I want to do this and I want to do this on my own. It's just unacceptable. So you asked me, how does it feel? It's so exciting because I feel like it's liberating a lot of these women. And like you said, Amina, you were talking about, you know, education and kind of what stops the cycle, right? And that's what we've kind of come out with for this program. It's education. Overall, it's support. Support can come in many types, right? Financial support, connecting with people, and then the networking to keep it going, continuing educations in the networking. So, I mean, I think it's huge. I'm super excited about it.
I mean, just think about it, right? And I didn't think about it until somebody mentioned this to me. They said, Davonne, how do you feel like 5 to 10 years from now, people either going to buy a hotel or develop a hotel or invest in a hotel because you just planted the seed? So do you feel that same way, CJ, that even with you're helping changing people's lives, their families' lives, right? Because with the Women on the Room program, right, you know, their daughters or nieces or cousins or, you know, they're able to be a part of something in 5-10 years from now, like their whole family is changing because they made that investment into acquiring or developing, in your case, converting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, we go
property.
Right, absolutely. And you know, you and I, we were in the at Kennesaw State. So we go to these colleges and we talk to these kids. And I started doing that as part of Castell right when I first started, and she kind of threw me in there. And the conversations just in the last 5 years, I'll say in the last 3 years really, with these graduate students that are, you know, trying to figure out what their path is.
Right.
I'll tell you, hotel development 3 years ago was not something I even heard maybe one female say in the room. And just that event that you and I went to, and I had a couple more during the year, Georgia State and other places. Women,
Panthers. I'm a fellow Panther.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Go Panthers. That's right. I forgot that. Yeah, but you know, I've had young ladies reach out to me after those you know, kind of seminars and go, hey, what would it take for me to own one? Is that impossible? Is that crazy? And it's like, no, girl, get over here. We got programs just for that. And I will say it's really helped us as well from a Wyndham perspective, really just stand out. I think with companies, everything kind of trickles down from the top. And Jeff Bellotti has always been an advocate since I've started, at least for the women perspective. And he's gone out of his way to make sure that we can kind of make changes. And if it's not acceptable, he's going to keep pushing until it is, right? So I think this program, it went from minority incentive to very deep. Now we have very detailed programs, which is helping each set of people go, you know, reach their goals, how they need the support, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, no, your CEO is amazing. He is. I think he called out. I think Mr. Bellotti, I think he called out, I think it was during Alice or something. I think he was calling out, it was like a DEI panel, and he's like, wait, there's no women. Like, like there's no people of color.
And he'll say that out loud. Oh yeah, he's very vocal about it. Which, by the way, that's what it takes. It doesn't just take us talking about it, right? It takes the men. And I tell a lot of my sales guys when this program first came out, I'm like, guys, don't be intimidated, because they would call me to ask to talk about the program to their customers. And I'm like, no. See, you already have a leg up. If you go in there and you're advocating for women as a male salesperson, I mean, that's huge, right? Because we can advocate for ourselves all day long, but it takes people like Jeff and like our sales guys and other men in the industry to really vocalize it, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Amina, do you have any final thoughts on how we can increase the percentage of female hotel owners and developers?
I think, well, I definitely agree with everything CJ has mentioned so far as education and support, and it seems like everything that the Wyndham Women on the Room program offers. And honestly, I think it will happen organically, as you mentioned, Davonne, over the next, or over the last 3 to 5 years, or the next 3 to 5 years, as more women see other women being developers, excuse me, or owners. And I think it will happen organically, but we can push that as well by having these programs available for women and going out and meeting them where they are. I feel like I'm a special case because I didn't have an education in hospitality back in 2019 when I got into the hospitality business. I came in knowing really nothing about the other aspects of hospitality, hotels specifically, except for that I wanted to be an owner. So there are some people out there that don't go through hospitality programs that also want to be hotel owners, whether it is to expand their real estate portfolio, because my husband and I always invested in real estate. It was just going to a different type of real estate. So I think that's kind of like an untapped type of, well, Davonne, you tap into it well. But I think for many of the larger brands, that can be an untapped market because there are women out there who are looking for kind of like a side hustle or something to do to set their family up for retirement, or even to move into a second career. But we're not really targeting them, or we're not going where they are with the programs. We're sticking in the traditional hospitality funnels, which is very important because obviously that's like the low hanging fruit. But I think there's such a broader audience of women as well who could do really well in hotel development and ownership.
CJ, what about you? What are your final thoughts on how we can get more women hotel owners and developers?
So I agree with Amina, definitely everything she said. It's just what I've come in contact with just from selling the brands and sitting down and talking to these ladies, it's intimidation, right? Mm-hmm. It's not because they don't know they're smart. It's not because they don't have the capital, some of them. It's because, or not, maybe not even maybe they do have hospitality education, but they think hotels are intimidating. Mm-hmm. And it is a different animal, but I think it's super important to partner with somebody who can support you the whole way. Right. And I think, anybody can do anything in this world, right? But depending on who's behind you is going to matter if you succeed or not. Right. And I think you have to be really, really focused on the programs offered, because I know Choice has a somewhat similar program. A lot of the other companies are starting to kind of mirror what we put out there. But really getting down to the details of what is offered and how it's going to help you specifically, because maybe, some people, key money really isn't on the table, right? Maybe you've got the funding. Maybe it's education. Maybe you've only been on the management side and now you're ready to step into ownership. So really there's a lot of fluff out there, but to make sure that you're really, really knowing who you're partnering with, because say, hey, listen, this is what I need out of this deal to succeed. Can you provide that? And a lot of times, each deal is different. So the company has to be willing to get really creative to make sure that you succeed.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think to get more women hotel owners and developers, we have to have these conversations, right? So seeing people like CJ, who's a woman developer for a brand, right? Because it is intimidation, right? Because I even started out that way. It was because at the time when I got started, I was either the only Black, the only female, or the youngest. And a lot of time it was all threes. A lot of the cases still that way. It's getting a little better now. But a lot of I was like intimidated. I was afraid to speak up, because I was raised, don't really ask questions. And now I'm the complete opposite. Now I'm challenging it. Now I'm okay to ask questions. I'm okay in my truth. Like I am Davonne, who loves Beyonce. I'm unapologetically Davonne. Like I am who I am, right? And so, but that has come. It's taken time and it's taken work. And I just noticed with women, we don't negotiate as much. We take care of everybody else but ourselves, right? And I work with a lot of men, and I know they can be selfish, but at the end of the day, women, we're the ones that get the work done, right? We're the ones that make it happen. So why aren't we taking a lead and having ownership roles? So having these conversations, seeing people like Amina, seeing people like myself, seeing people like CJ, who by just being in programs like Castell at college, that in a Castell project, where now women can see different positions within the hospitality industry, right? Because when I was coming up, I thought the only thing you could do was become a general manager. I didn't know that you could be a developer for a brand. I didn't even know you could be a hotel owner. I didn't know you can be an asset manager, be a hotel broker, be an architect, all of these different things that you can do within the industry. So I think by us having these conversations and putting ourselves out there and showing people who look like us and showing that we can do it and we can come together as women. So women working together, making it happen. Oh man, this has been awesome. This has been a dope conversation. CJ, how can people connect with you?
Yeah. So, how do you want me to share that? Do you want me to share my email, or what do you want?
Oh, LinkedIn. You do LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn, CJ Carr, probably the only one on there. So you'll find me. The only one for Wyndham, that's for sure. And by the way, Davonne, I heard you say something about negotiating. If any of y'all need help with that, you just give me a call. We can.
I already know, girl. You sick. I already know. I've been on a couple panels with you. Amina, what about how can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn also at Amina Gilyard James.
Okay. All right. Well, you all can find us Next Gen Lodging. We're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Davonne Reaves. Let us know what you think, share comments, make sure you subscribe. We are a monthly podcast, Next Gen Lodging, where we bring diverse speakers talking about the industry, because we are the next generation of lodging and we are going to be the next leaders. So we need to hear from us, right? It's the same people all the time. So, hey, nobody will give us a chance to speak. So we created our own thing. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, Amina. I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy schedule. I saw PD hopped in every now and then. So he didn't make too much noise. PD is Amina's dog, kind of like the family dog. Everybody kind of took in PD.
Mm-hmm.
So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank y'all for being a guest. Really appreciate you all. And to all my women out there, happy Women's History Month. So see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to the Hotel News Now Podcast Network. Make sure to subscribe on Apple or Spotify for more. And visit hotelnewsnow.com for more hospitality industry news.